Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to Tekpon. Today our guest is Anand, the head of growth marketing at Oneflow. Hello.
Hi, Christian. Thanks for having me here today.
Thank you for joining our podcast as a fellow podcast host. Please tell us what your company does.
Yes, so I work as head of growth marketing at Oneflow.
Mm-hmm.
Oneflow is an AI-based contract management software that focuses on automating the entire contract process from pre-sign to sign to post-sign, all in one place and for all teams. So what we basically do is we make contracts easy. We kind of eliminate admin work so that the team can focus on what they are good at. If it's sales team, obviously they can focus more on selling their product. If it's hiring team, they can focus more on hiring instead of spending a lot of time on the admin contract work. Which basically means, yeah, with OneFlow you can close more deals faster, you can hire faster, you can procure faster, and this in turn helps in saving a lot of monthly costs in admin work, also managing a lot of tools because with OneFlow you can use one tool to manage your entire contract process, and you can basically sync it or integrate with any of your CRM tools out there so that you don't have to move out of your CRM because that's where your sales, or if it's any of your recruiting or hiring tools, you can basically sit within that and you don't have to move to another tool to completely focus on your contract process. And I feel, yeah, there has been a lot of changes, evolutions happening across the world, but when it comes to contracts, we are still stuck with static contracts out there, kind of very unstructured type of contracts, which is more of images and PDFs rather than dynamic
Right.
contracts, because the data in the contracts is kind of very important. But if your contract is in an image or a PDF, you don't get that data. So I think it's high time we shift towards dynamic contracts so that it makes easier for all your teams to focus on, and they can kind of prioritize more on what they actually want to do than the admin work.
So you are replacing the PDF, right? You're not using this as a format.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What do you say are the most loved features of the product?
So, like I said, so we have obviously a lot of contract templates because that helps you kind of use the existing templates than creating contracts from the scratch.
Yes.
We have a feature called live editing because I would say the biggest challenge when it comes to contracts is when you're negotiating with the other person. You might have a lot of changes in your contract, so you go back and make the changes, send another newer version through your emails. So your emails would be kind of loaded with a lot of versions of your contract and you have no clue which is the latest one. But with OneFlow you don't have to send different versions. You can basically do live editing when you're negotiating with the other counterparty as well. Make the changes directly. You can add comments, everything within the same contract itself, so no more versions. It's all in kind of one existing version out there. And the second biggest thing I would say is, see, every team needs a contract, whether it's your HR team, your procurement, or your sales. But then you basically need one tool for all departments instead of using different tools. Right now, that's the problem. Like every team has a
Oh,
different
wow.
tool, and you have no idea what what is basically happening. The data is not talking to one another. The tool does not talk to one another. So I think, yeah, you basically need one tool for all your departments, and I think, yeah, that's important to ensure that you kind of get value out of these contracts and how you work towards that. And integrations, yes, you need to. I think it's important that you have integration with the tools that you basically use, whether it's your CRM or hiring tools. And we recently launched our AI module as well, where you can basically focus on. So we have a couple of features like AI assist, and there are a couple of other features which is upcoming, which is more like AI review, AI search, and AI import.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay.
So what it basically does is, it helps you kind of search for your contracts within your platform. It helps you
Amazing.
review your contract to understand, okay, your contract is aligning to the compliance of what is needed. It helps you create contracts, like what content you should add, kind of more of an assist. So that's, I think, something which we are kind of looking forward to shift towards much more AI enabled features. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, Great answer, by the way. What? Who are the companies that need OneFlow? What is the ICP? Who is the ideal customer?
So, I mean, I would obviously like to say that, yeah, every company needs a contract and every
Right.
department needs a contract. But I would say the ideal customer profile is anyone who has, a significant number of contracts. So maybe somewhere between 20 or 50 employee size companies to almost 1,000 plus, because and the more bigger you are, obviously you need to manage a lot of contracts. So mid-market, large enterprise, definitely yes. And within SMBs, I would say, yeah, it's somewhere between 20 plus or 50 plus. But we also have few individuals who basically use it more, like I think it is more like consultants who also use the product as well. But I would say ideal fit is more like, yeah, SMB and above.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And how does the pricing work?
So we have four pricing models. We have a free forever plan, and which I mean, you can always do a 14-day trial of a product, and after the 14th day, your plan basically goes back to the free forever plan. And then we have essentials, business and enterprise plans based on the features. And yeah, the AI versions, what all templates you get access to, maybe custom integrations and all that. So it's basically for pricing models, and the pricing is more based on per user, per month kind of a cost. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And can you share a success story on how you helped ex customer achieve some results? It already makes sense for the audience, but just to make sure people understand the real value.
Yes. So, I mean, there are a lot of customers, and I often try to kind of, have conversations with these customers. We also try to gather a lot of inputs from some of these calls that either the customer success team has, or in fact, even the sales team has. So yeah, recently I've seen. I just don't want to name maybe the company out here, but then
No
we have
worries.
seen a lot of cases where. Yeah, they were using static PDF kind of version, and then just adding an electronic signature on top of that. So basically means you need to manage multiple tools, and they shifted towards OneFlow maybe a couple of months ago. And what they've basically seen is it eliminates. So they're basically saving a lot of time in by just using one tool, and you can directly. So this was a sales team that's using it, and yeah, so they were sitting inside HubSpot, and the sales team basically works completely on HubSpot, and within HubSpot you can directly trigger any contracts from
Amazing.
OneFlow. So you don't have to go again to OneFlow and then create all these kind of things. And the sales team basically can completely focus on what they actually do, which is kind of selling the product. And this saves, I think, almost I would say thousands of hours, in a year for them, because yeah, it's a lot of manual work. And another thing is, if you actually see how negotiations go, it can take days. Like how when you're negotiating with a prospect or a counterparty, it can go for different days because you have versions, and some of the communication get lost in emails and all that. And this helped them kind of save their sales conversion rate. So they were able to reduce their contract cycle by at least 50%. So yeah,
Right.
that's a significant number if you look at the cost that would have involved in it, and as well as the time.
That's amazing. I totally agree, and I think it's great value in there.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about the market. How do you see the market in terms of the competition, and how do you think OneFlow is different? Anything that you can share.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, so every company needs a contract, and every department in a company needs a contract. So that's a huge market out there. And obviously, the space, like I said, the entire contract management space has evolved a lot. So there are still a lot of people who use, static contracts, and then they use an electronic signature on top of that. Then there are obviously, couple of players within the contract management space as well. But again, they are, most of them are kind of very PDF specific. The entire contract is kind of an image, a PDF, and not a dynamic contract. And so that's where OneFlow is basically the differentiator is, because we are not an image based or kind of a PDF based contract. So that's something I think the entire contract space is going to move towards, because the data on the contract is kind of very important, and how you can kind of get insights out of it. So the market is kind of predominantly, like, yeah, it's a huge market, and you have a couple of electronic signature tools out there, and also contract management space out there. But in this, how the market has shifted or moved towards post-COVID, with the economic conditions, the market conditions, with couple of wars happening, uncertainty, and things. There is a rumors of recession out there. I think companies need to start focusing more on efficiency, which is one tool for all departments. How can you reduce time and reduce cost by using tools that's available? And this shift, I think this is the opportunity that we see. And yeah, companies, I mean, every company does focus on optimizing most of their tech stack, but when it comes to contracts, they have not been heavily focusing on it, but ideally they should, because this is the contract side of things have a huge role to play when it comes to how you can close deals or hire faster. So
Yes.
yes, the market is becoming more kind of significant and important. And still there are a lot of companies that are using the static contracts, which they need to shift to. So yeah, I think the market is out there for us to have a significant growth when it comes to the contract evolution.
And I think you're in a great position now, as
Yeah.
it's growing. So that's fantastic. Uh, are you familiar with the founding story of the company, with the original story?
Yes. Yeah, I think I mean, it all started when our CEO Anders, yeah, I mean, he basically kind of faced this challenge a lot, and of having the challenge of having contracts or PDFs. There is no data or insights that we get from any of these contracts. We get, I mean, the entire communication get lost in emails. And yeah, I think the whole thought came when, okay, the rest everything is getting evolved, whereas contracts is still in kind of a medieval age. And I think it all started with this trigger, and that's exactly what I believe. I think every SaaS software out there, the ones that have been success is has triggered based on an actual problem that they have faced and how they want to solve them. And that's exactly how OneFlow also started almost 10 years ago.
Oh,
And
wow.
we have been kind of, yeah, I mean, the aim for OneFlow is to kind of become a leader in the space and try to evolutionize the entire contract space out there. And yeah, I think we have seen massive growth in the last couple of years. And this is exactly what we want. We want more companies to start understanding or realizing that they have a challenge that they need to solve. They are spending a lot of money and wasting time on using static contracts, and they need to shift towards the new way of contracting, I would say.
Absolutely. And how about your story during the company?
So it's been 3 years since I joined OneFlow,
Okay.
and prior to OneFlow, I was working for a company called Freshworks. Again,
Yes.
heading their marketing side of things. So overall, I would say almost 13 plus years within SaaS marketing, focusing on revenue marketing programs. That cuts across the entire customer lifecycle stages. And at OneFlow, again, the goal was to kind of create an all-bound engine to drive the growth in revenue that we aim to achieve. And yeah, so we have built an efficient team where we are kind of focusing on the channels, both paid, non-paid activities, customer lifecycle focused channels. And there are, yeah, a couple of some great plans ahead as well in the coming years, where we want to kind of shift towards some of the marketing strategies, so that we adapt towards the huge change that's happening in the market. Yeah, so it's been 3 years, and yeah, a lot of interesting things have happened, and a lot more to go as well. Yeah.
Super happy for you. I think you have an amazing journey. And I'll also talk about your podcast later. But first
Yeah.
of all, let's chat more about the company. How big is the team right now, and how big is the marketing team?
So the entire company is almost 160 plus, and the marketing team is currently around 20.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, the way the team is structured is obviously we have specialists focusing on the channels, and we are kind of very market focused. So we have marketing managers focusing on respective countries, more running more of like a field marketing activities. So yeah, I think we have a team of almost 20, and we are kind of trying to optimize and see how we can scale the all-bound revenue further.
Okay. What's one channel that companies should try in 2024 from your perspective? Or
Yes.
what
So
works nowadays?
yes, I mean, for us, I think the key thing is the big shift from growth at all cost, which companies used to do maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but as of now,
Yes.
that does not exist. So we need to be kind of very efficient. So one way of, I mean, one key thing which we continuously do is, okay, what are the channels that's actually working? Scale them. What's not? Kind of stop it. So you don't have to keep running them just because, I mean, just for the sake of it. I think you need to kind of make those hard decisions that, okay, this is not working, just stop and move on. But in the coming months or maybe in 2025, I think what we clearly want to focus more on is the omni-channel approach. See, instead of focusing the entire marketing campaigns from more like a campaign or channel perspective, we want to look at more from a customer journey standpoint, so that the campaigns kind of talk to each other. We want each campaign to have the data or the insights from what's happening from the entire customer journey. Currently we are kind of building the tech stack for that, because I think it's important to have an efficient tech stack that kind of sends signals so that each channel can have the signals and they can kind of optimize towards it. So I would say, yeah, the key one is omni-channel approach. Second one is more focused towards influencer and kind of affiliate marketing, because I think that's one space we haven't kind of focused a lot, but I think it's kind of a key focus area for us in the coming months. And then it's more about customer lifecycle approach, seeing everything through our entire customer journey. And while we continue to scale our existing campaigns, which is both paid and non-paid. And from non-paid, obviously you would know that there is a lot of things happening on the SEO side of things. It's no more just about ranking on Google. It's no more about just publishing content just for the sake of it. There is a massive shift. So I think a lot of our brainstorming sessions go towards, okay, first is listening to these sales calls, understanding what our customers kind of talk about, where they kindly do their research and understand
Yes.
things, and then take those insights and kind of I think it's important to create take those insights and create content based on that, because you need the insights from that, and also try and see how you can build kind of a community and drive more value for the user. So I would say, yeah, these four things it's key to run kind of an efficient marketing in this ever changing or kind of very changing market out there, and I think that's the key.
Thank you so much. You shared such great insights in 3 minutes. Amazing. And you also run a podcast. Please tell
Yeah.
the audience more about it, because I think they should check it out.
Yes. So I launched this in July. So the podcast name is The Growth Marketer. See, I've been an avid podcast listener. So when I commute to office and when I go back, obviously I listen to a lot of podcasts. So there are some very good podcasts which I still continue to listen. But what I've seen is there are a lot of marketing podcasts, especially focusing on SaaS and B2B. But then it's very few that are kind of really good, that's actually driving value. Most of it are just doing it just for the sake of it. Some of them were good, but then I think they stopped it at some point. So my main goal or aim with the Growth Marketer podcast is kind of give insights and actual action items for each strategy or channel, so that other marketers out there can go and just try and test it. Because again, there is no one strategy. So what works at Oneflow may not work for another company. So obviously you
Absolutely.
need to test it. So there is no, I'm not a big fan of people who mention these kind of taglines on LinkedIn saying that, okay, this strategy is dead, that strategy is dead, this is a new way. No, it's not that case. So each company is
Yes.
different, because
Yes.
every strategy needs to be aligned to their business processes, what they basically sell. So here, what I'm trying to do is kind of give more insights and how exactly you can do it or what has actually worked for us. Because I mean, the other marketers out there, you don't have to invent the wheel all over again. You have people who have already tried and tested, and I kind of also bring in some guests at times in some of the specializations because I feel okay, I've been maybe following that person for a long time and her content has been really good. So yeah, it's a mix of my own I mean sharing my own experience plus some of the experts out there their experience as well, and give clear insights and action items so that after every episode when they go back they basically have something to kind of act on it.
Right. Amazing. I have two questions left for you. First of all,
Yeah.
I'd like to jump into your story, how you started your career, and your best piece of advice for a starting marketer, let's say after finishing college.
Yes. So, yeah, I did my entire, schooling and college, everything in India. I'm basically from India.
Hmm.
So I'm an engineer. Yeah, I'm
Really?
basically electrical and electronic engineer. So the first 2 years of my career has been completely on the engineering side of things. Yeah, I mean it's a I mean though I did electrical and electronic engineer, I was more doing into the computer science of things. So for my I mean my first 2 years of work was more on computer science. And I guess that's the case with most people from India. They complete, yeah, the engineering, but then they end up in the computer science field. So I have that
Nice.
engineering background, and I kind of understand some of the technical side of things. And I think that's kind of very valuable when it comes to marketing, because I think now being more efficient, you need to have those tech insights to understand okay what are the things that you could try and focus on to test. So I think that's something that has been evolved for marketers more than just being creative. It's been creative but plus analytical plus maybe having a bit more of engineering or technical aspect on it as well. So yeah, so going back, yeah, 2 years I worked as as a computer science engineer, and then I did my MBA, which is more focusing on marketing. And since then, I've been working a couple of companies more on the marketing side of things. But it was Freshworks where I worked for almost 8 years, and that's
Wow.
where kind of because since it was a SaaS startup, so when I joined Freshworks, they were almost 30 million US dollars. When I left in 2020, early 2022, we crossed 500 million US dollars. So that was the
Wow.
huge growth that we have seen.
Yes.
So there's a lot of experience. There is a lot of learnings in those 8 years. And since Freshworks was a multi-product SaaS company, I basically got the experience to work with all those different segments of the
That's
target
amazing.
audience of ICP and the product as well. So yeah, I mean, ever since then, yeah, there is no going back because I love the SaaS space and marketing in the SaaS. And from there, yeah, I thought, okay, now it's 8 years. Maybe I need to try and look for new challenge, and that's how I moved to Sweden, Stockholm for Oneflow. And yeah, here it was again building the entire marketing funnel or the marketing team from scratch. And yeah, and it's been 3 years here now.
And what would be your best piece of advice for a starting marketer?
Yes. Now, I would say maybe something that I would have liked to do it much earlier had I known then is to take up risks, because you need to try and test a lot of things at an early stage. And so, yeah, try anything that you feel, maybe something that can bring some value out of it than just following something that you've been always doing. So take risks, take up new challenges, and that'll definitely kind of help you grow in your career as well. And I think one important thing for marketers is to be curious, because there is a lot of things happening. So the way I would have marketed at Freshworks is not totally different from how I'm doing it here, because things have changed and the market evolves a lot quickly. Marketing evolves a lot quickly. So you always need to be curious, always learning to understand what's happening in the market or what's happening in the space. So I would say, yeah, these are my two advice that I normally give to all marketers.
Thank you so much for this. Last question for you. What's your favorite SaaS product that you use and why?
A SaaS product?
Yes, favorite one.
I mean, since I'm a kind of very technical, and I also like to see the entire customer journey and the customer funnel. Right now, the tool that I've spent a lot of time on is Hockey Stack.
Yes.
Hockey Stack is a revenue attribution plus customer journey kind of mapping
Yes.
platform where you basically get to see the entire customer funnel from the first interaction that the prospect or the account had with your brand, along with the entire customer journey. And it's kind of very, very interesting because it's no more a linear way of the journey that normally you see outside. It's not that okay, they saw your ad, they clicked on it, and they end up being a customer, but you end up seeing that it's months of work. Some of the accounts has maybe seen us maybe a year ago. There are a lot of touch points. On an average, I would say at least 12 plus touch points, and this can increase if it's an enterprise. LinkedIn, how LinkedIn impacts is really interesting to see. It can be months, it can be maybe 50 plus impressions to kind of influence a deal. So for me, yeah,
Wow.
I think this is one tool that I spend a lot of time, and it gets a lot. I mean, you basically get a lot of insights out of it that you can kind of go back and optimize your campaigns on.
And they're amazing. I follow their journey and they're amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much, Anand. This was the interview. I'm really grateful you shared a lot of value. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Christian. I mean, it's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed the conversation talking about Oneflow, talking about marketing, and talking about my career. Yeah.
Thank you so much.